Welcome to the news episode of Squawk 7000. On this week's podcast, the runway at Cork is officially reopened this weekend ahead of flights restarting on Monday. A new Irish eVTOL partnership is launched at the Dubai Airshow. And find out how you can win a bottle of Runway 28 Premium Irish Gin.
On Taoiseach, Micheál Martin officially opened the newly reconstructed main runway at Cork on Saturday. The ceremony took place on the runway and marked the completion of the fastest large-scale construction project undertaken in the state in recent years, 12 months from funding approval to the completion of construction work. The Taoiseach was joined by Minister Hildegarde Naughton, Minister of State at the Department of Transport, and senior cabinet members, along with civic and business leaders, to witness the result of the single biggest investment by any government at the airport. The first arrival was an Aer Lingus A320 that arrived shortly after 6 a.m. and operated the first departure to Heathrow at 7:45 on Monday. The project was completed on schedule and within budget in a 10-week construction period instead of nighttime closures next year for 10 months. Over 430 were employed in construction and supply jobs during the rebuilding of the main runway, as well as the upgrading of the airport's approach, airfield and ground lighting, runway edge and central line lighting, together with all drainage and ducting systems. In total, DAA is investing over €40 million at Cork Airport over the 3 years between 2020 and 2022 to upgrade and enhance critical infrastructure.
Well, before opening the refurbished runway, ILS calibration flights were conducted over 2 days last week by a Piper PA-31 Chieftain, Golf Fox Charlie Sierra Lima. The service is provided by Flight Calibration Services Limited, based in Shoreham on the south coast of England. They have a long-term contract with the IAA to flight check the nav aids at 11 airports in the state, including Baldonnel. They also have separate contracts with Donegal Airport. FCSL are Europe's only private-owned flight calibration company. They operate a fleet of 5 Diamond DA-62 and 2 Piper Chieftains on contracts across Ireland, Britain, Africa and the Middle East. They've developed and installed their own airborne and ground testing equipment, which is automated and allows highly accurate positioning for each test run. It's also compact, which permits installation in small aircraft, greatly reducing operating costs.
In June this year, Dennis Connolly, known to most pilots in Ireland as the friendly face that greeted us at Bantry Airfield, was involved in a serious road accident and suffered life-changing injuries. Dennis was a regular contributor to Flying in Ireland magazine over the years and often sent photos and stories from Bantry Airfield. Dennis is currently being treated at the National Rehabilitation Unit in Dún Laoghaire. Due to the nature of his injuries, his house would require extensive modifications before he can move home early in 2022. Friends and family have launched a GoFundMe campaign to raise €50,000 required to modify his home. In the first few days, over €20,000 has already been raised, and you'll find a link to the campaign on the Flying in Ireland website.
Great fund, and we wish him well. Last week at the Dubai Airshow, an historic partnership between 3 leading Irish organisations, ASG, VectorCap and Avtrain, was announced to create Europe's first electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft-approved pilot training organisation. Vertex Aero will become a key enabler for the future safe use of electric urban air mobility aircraft through robust pilot training. This new organisation combines the strengths of the 3 organisations, which already have proven track records and industry-wide recognition as leading approved providers of aviation training, compliance and oversight, and commercial development and growth. Vertex Aero will work with regulators to develop standards for pilot licensing and operator approvals, offer initial and recurrent training, and provide consultancy services to eVTOL manufacturers.
The General Aviation Safety Council of Ireland has announced it will host a safety webinar on Wednesday the 8th of December at 7:30pm. It will be hosted on Zoom, and you'll find a link to join on the Flying in Ireland events page. The content has not been released yet, but it's usually an enjoyable event and highly recommended for all general aviation pilots. And finally this week, over on the Flying in Ireland website, we've launched a competition to win a bottle of Runway 28 Premium Irish Gin. This Donegal brand was created by an Irish aviation family and is blended by the award-winning Listoke Distillery in County Louth. Take a look at the Flying in Ireland website and the Runway 28 Gin Instagram page for details on how to win.
I'll have ice in mind. Thanks, Mark. You can find these stories and more on flyinginireland.com. Next week, I'll be reporting from Kinsale's inaugural aviation festival, established to promote Ireland's rich and extensive aviation history. Join us for that next week, and thanks for listening.